She's busy singing for...
She's singing Dudu Kemi. Ayanfe. Yes, Monday, as we said at the beginning of this program, is Children's Day. And it is only apt for us to talk about children in today's program. It is reported that approximately 5.9 million Nigerian children are currently facing severe food and nutrition crisis, the highest number recorded globally. You know that emoji that does this? Well, that's me right now. Why is ours the highest number globally? About 15 million are child workers in the country, and yet another report says Nigeria is ranked third highest in number of child brides in the world. Another emoji. The United Nations demands every country to ensure that children have access to health care and education as basic rights. You know, all these United Nations protocols, we are always signatories to them. We come home and say that we have domesticated them, but have we really done that? When you look at these things critically, you don't see any evidence that these things have been domesticated and that anything is being done about them. How can we have the third highest number of child brides in the world? How can we have more than 10 million children out of school? And yet we go there go through all the motions. We go to all these conferences and we sit down with everybody and we're seen signing. What is the meaning of all that? Kingsley Obom Egbulem is here with us. He works with children and he writes books for children. Good morning, Kingsley.
Good morning.
Good
I wanted
my
own emoji, but I couldn't find it. So, I don't know.
Use your hands.
Okay.
Thank you. So you too are adequately ashamed of these statistics I just read out.
Well, if there's anything more than ashamed, it's mourning. Yeah. You stated that we have 10 million out-of-school children. That was as at 2020. Now...
It gets worse.
Yes, it is 20 million. Yes. And many of them dropped out of school in the last 4 years or thereabouts. So a lot of children...
What is the reason for that? Why in the last 4 years? Why have more children dropped out of school?
Okay, parents' earning capacity had actually has dwindled. And then...
Public schools?
Oh, of course. And then not all public schools are free. I hope you know that. I mean, thank God for Lagos State and a few other states. And then child brides.
Sorry, on that, I'm actually a little befuddled by that. There was this national policy on education in 1977. I'm sorry, I have to go there. Okay. There is a provision in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that talks about free and compulsory education.
Exactly.
National policy on education in 1977 emphasized free and compulsory primary education. Of course, over the years, that has been revised to improve access to education and all of that. So, at what point did we change that policy?
As a matter of fact, most of the elections around that period, that was the thrust of the campaigns. The Awolowas of this word, Ambrosalis of this word, I mean, that was the thrust of their campaign, and they implemented it. So, your question, at what point did we change the policy? Maybe when we started keeping cash in overhead tanks. I think that was when the policy changed. When we started buying deep freezers and stocking cash in them for election, because something must give. There's no way you will keep 10 deep freezers at home.
You know, Kingsley,
cash.
This may all sound a little comical, but just a second. I'm looking for. It was in 1979. I don't know, Alero, if I'm correct, that we had what they called then the International Year of the Child.
Yep.
And the NTA at the time was agog with all kinds of information about the International
Year of the Child.
That's the song. And it was with the hope of giving attention to children and all initiatives around them. Research tells us that the first initiative, I still have it open somewhere here, that the first initiative, law actually, over the past 50 years in Nigeria, the first of it was pre-independence in Nigeria, Children and Young Persons Act. You know, which was supposed to be the foundation
for the Child Rights Act.
Child Rights Act and several others in the country like that. So, what exactly would you say is the problem with all of these initiatives?
Like every other thing in Nigeria, you know, at some point when people's expectation gets to the survival level, the things that should matter stops being important. You just want to survive. Now, we've been getting poorer and poorer by the years. And so we're at the point now where, for instance, education, you hear things like education has come.
Yeah.
When you hear slogans like that, it means that we've been so reduced to that minimum where let me just survive. Keep this thing first. When I survive, I can now decide. And you see, our path to development is not connected visibly to the gains from education. And I can tell you for free. When you see people touting all the importance of, I mean, not really importance, but when people make money through the creative industry, and then they come on social media and flaunt those wealth. One of the things it does is that it gives you the impression that just sing. Once you sing and it blows, forget. So we've not been able to connect education and development and human development index. I was reading, you know, I and I were having a conversation this morning before, and he sent me one thing that shocked me. I was really surprised that we have too many laws, so many laws. Like I said, we've signed so many laws that are directed towards developing the Nigerian child. But you see, all of them are rehashed. We just take one law and develop another one, come up with another one. They are all saying the same thing.
Let's imagine that they are saying the same thing.
Yes.
Kingsley.
But there are no indicators for measuring how much you've implemented these laws, apart from routine immunization. That is, and the reason is that way is because it is driven largely by donor agencies. The World Bank, the WHO, UNICEF, the Gavi, the Global Vaccine Alliance, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. These are the people funding over 80% of our routine immunization. And that's why they want the numbers. Otherwise, every other thing that we're doing on our own, boy.
We have...
Okay. You know this thing about child bride?
Yes, please.
Maybe it hurts me so much because I was a girl child, because I'm a woman.
And you are now a babe child.
Thank you very much.
We have seen enough literature about VVF.
Yeah.
So it is now an issue of culture and
religion. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Say it, say it,
so,
say it. Don't, I mean, there's no political correctness.
You have a girl child and you give her out in marriage at the age of 10.
That's it.
And you know what is going to happen to her. It is not a suspicion. You know that almost certainly this child is going to be sick for a long time because she's not physically ready for what you are sending her into.
Can I shock you further? You know, the child bride, the statistics about 5 point something million, right? Now, do you know the number of maternal, quote unquote? It's actually supposed to be child mortality, because a 10, 11, 12-year-old who gets married and
gets pregnant
and dies, that's not maternal mortality.
That's child mortality.
Yes.
Infant mortality.
Well,
not
she's
infant,
not an infant,
but child.
actually, but that's child. So
no, it's not funny at all.
You see the figures?
It's not funny.
Now. So the VVF thing is actually not as gory as the number of these girls that die
trying to give birth.
Yes. So if you have
and parents are still not getting wise.
Sure. And that's another. You see, the child bride thing is a two-pronged social malaise. One,
for money.
There is the economics of it. So for a man who is, let's say, one Alhaji Nuru, he's poor, but he has 4 girls. That is his path out of poverty, yes.
Yeah.
So when they are 10, you will do a lot of advocacy for Nuru not to give those kids away.
But isn't Nuru shown those videos of children with VVF? Is he not seeing other people's children who are dying?
The second prong, which is those girls are virgins. It's better they are married off while they are still chaste. So his mindset is already beclouded by these two factors that you cannot logically explain away. The man is battling poverty, which stares him in the face every day. So as long as these girls are managing to go to primary school, once they are 10, there's somebody waiting to take them away from him. That's the religious side. And then he's giving money.
But Kingsley, we have, I'm sorry, I may be sounding idealistic,
yes,
but it is the reason we have systems. We have laws. These people are also voted into power. If we didn't want to embrace, quote unquote, Western culture, then we should abandon Western democracy. But we have embraced Western democracy. We do not sit.
Have we?
One way or the other we have, because we vote. Do we vote for monarchs? Do we vote for pastors and imams? We don't vote for those ones. So the point that I'm making is this. Now that since we have agreed that we want to embrace all of that, what holds us back? We have had the Child Rights Act since 2003, and I know that there's been quite a number of other laws after that. There is the Universal Basic Education law. There is the National Health Policy. There's National Policy on Child Labor, National Gender Policy 2006, and all of these things are there, which ordinarily should take us away from what you have just painted.
Yeah.
We have legislators in the National Assembly, 2 chambers, bicameral legislature in the National Assembly, with people from the north, south, east, and west, all 36 state governments, 36 states of the country. We have members of the state houses of assembly.
36 of them.
36 of them, who expectedly should know what obtains in the world and consequently help their people to upgrade as well mentally and emotionally and psychologically, so that their children are not found in the situation that we are painting here.
But
can I help you land?
Enter culture.
So we have 2 major crises that I don't know who is going to help us. One of them, your last one of your last guests alluded to it. Our route to leadership is brigandage, is draconian. it doesn't throw up the best of us. Are you not worried that we live in a country where your lives cannot emerge as a political leader? Does that not bother you? As in, as sound as I am, I can't lead this country. I can't lead politically. I can't vie for office.
Government.
Yes. As altruistic as my intentions are, I have functioned in places where, I had responsibility for developing human capacity without any remuneration. Now, if I want to become a political leader, I will have to live that dream in my dream. That goal in my dream. So we have a problem where the path to leadership, to political leadership, is such that it only favors the emergence of marauders and bandits. That is where we are. Until we seated here can aspire politically and be voted without having talks, without stealing, then you can now be talking. Because when somebody emerges as a political leader in this country, it is a captive mentality. The guy is there to steal on behalf of people. And you see it everywhere. What you see that we're celebrating are just the exceptions. I'm telling you the truth. So, let's be more graphic now. We're still discussing a guy who paid school fees up front for his kids. Go to the states where that guy presided over. It's hell. That is the norm. You see, in the 21st century, we are celebrating Alesoti. Why should we? We should be ashamed that everybody is talking about Alesoti in 2024.
He's
Nigeria,
only doing his job.
When we had Baba Awolowo, most of us went to school because of that man.
True.
Bruce Ali, many of us went to school because of that guy years ago. And in 2024, we're talking about Alex Otti. No, now. He came late. Because we've had a trajectory that was worth celebrating. And then all of a sudden, the gangsters came. 1999, that was when the gangsters started raping this country. And it has never been nice ever since.
Okay. Now, the theme for
she mentioned culture, which is boy. That's our being. Our culture. It's some say, Kingsley, no, there's so much in our culture. What is in our culture that we should be celebrating is not connected to Human Development Index. No. It is just the socio-cultural side that, the glamour. But in terms of developing the human mind, today, you have professors who still go to shrine when they are sick. You have PhD holders who are sick and they are on the altar of a church. And they are pouring water on them. And you're asking, how did we get here?
Anyway, let's talk. This is about Children's Day. We're just trying to review all of the various government initiatives over the years that have been targeted at children. Part of the challenges and implementation. Just do a simple Google search. Initiatives for children on ChatGPT of BAD, which Alera uses. He will even give you challenges and implementation problems. The ones that
about 12 of those, even though some of them were not so narrow to children, but at least you can leverage on them.
No, the truth is, bringing them up in the first place means that
there's an intention.
There's an intention.
But that's where
for that to happen. But now we are talking about Children's Day on Monday, and the UN's theme is promoting inclusivity. If I'm getting it correct, promoting inclusivity. Do you think? What should Nigeria be talking about? There's going to be a lot of activities on Monday.
And then we're going to say we're celebrating Children's Day when we have 20 million of them out of school. when about 3 million...
We're not celebrating students. We're celebrating Children's Day.
That's part of it. About 2-3 million of them are suffering acute malnutrition, as in they don't have food to eat.
Well, if
and we are saying
the child right
today is
if
Children's
it's any
Day.
cheer, gentlemen and ladies, if it's any cheer, one of the initiatives of the UN is about promoting inclusivity to ensure that all children, regardless of their backgrounds, have equal opportunities and access to education and resources, for which reason we also decided we wanted to talk about education. So that's what the whole thing is about. And the part of the agenda is to improve the lives of children and address issues such as poverty, child labor, and child trafficking. Now, what should Nigeria, in your opinion, Kingsley, because I can see that Leroy is already angry, I'm not going to ask him. What is, in your opinion, should we be focusing on as a country, given all the issues that we have resolved? And what would you expect various government agencies all across the nation to be talking about on Monday?
These things, they look so, they look like rocket science rather, but it's the same thing we've been saying. Access to education, health, and then opportunities. Now, what are these opportunities? You see, when you're well educated, you on your own, you can identify these opportunities. Currently, we need 20,000 schools to bridge our gap in education. 20,000 schools.
And that means X number of teachers.
An average of 500 million naira will build a school. If we invest $1 million every year, in 10 years, we'll bridge that gap. So that will take our 20 million kids who are not in school out of school, because even if they decide to go to school, there will be no school for them.
But the challenge of sustaining those infrastructures is another thing.
Yeah, but if you can start, let's even make the first step, okay? Build a school. There are people who are graduating every year and they need jobs. Education, teaching could be one of those jobs. Inspire people to go to the classroom and teach.
How do we sustain
the classroom,
them?
which is sometimes under a tree.
When you say how do we sustain them, are you talking in terms of what? Policies?
Salaries.
Oh, there. Okay.
Salaries.
Well, if you're spending 90 billion for pilgrimage, surely you can find money to educate the children.
When you say salaries, if we're not mismanaging our resources, there are too many things to do. Do you know that Alex Otti has not borrowed any money till date? Are you aware? He has not borrowed yet. Are you aware?
I can't say what I'm thinking.
To the best of my knowledge.
He has not borrowed yet. He has been paying part of the salaries those guys were owing. I know a guy who supplies Abia State Teaching Hospital drugs. The guy, the debt they were owing him like 10 years ago, they just got paid. Wow. So
what's the value of the money now?
Well, at least I thought 9 bad. So the guy is paying debt the state is owing. And he's not borrowing money, he's building roads. So the amount of waste in this system.
You know,
we've always said
the thing is not where's the money coming from. No, the thing is, if we cut the waste, the number of SUVs
and plug the holes,
the number of special senior deputies, senior special. If we cut all of these things,
Kingsley, we are talking about children. You are talking about adults.
We're saying the same thing. Making money available to move these kids into schools. You see, if you cannot do that's the first, the funnel. You know, is a funnel approach. If you suck these children into school, you can now start the nest.
How about the responsibility of parents?
Hold on.
I know that we have less than a minute.
Hold on. The responsibility of parents is to partner with government to achieve this goal for the children. Now, if parents decide to give birth to children they cannot cater for, now,
and there are many such.
Yes. If you make quality education affordable, you have solved half of the problem of that parent. So you don't have to be looking for one British curriculum, American, German, and somebody said Afghanistan curriculum, where you take your child to. You know why? Because that problem has been reduced for you. So even if you are an irresponsible parent, quote and unquote, you can't send your kids to an Ivy League school. The fact that there is quality education that is affordable, you can rescue those children from poverty.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Well, so that is the entry point. If we solve that entry point where children can, you know, these JAMB results that we're all seeing and we are screaming, they are all private school results. Until our public schools can turn those results, then we're making progress.
As in, until we go back to where we were before.
Yes. Education.
Because how many private schools were there at the time that I went to school?
Were there private schools?
There were none. None. So that is the catchment. Once we solve that basic education, indeed, you're getting kids.
Universal basic education.
It's basic indeed.
Free and qualitative and compulsory education
so
for all Nigerian children. That is what the law says. So what happened? At what point did we drop the ball? And why is it that we are not paying attention to the fact that we have dropped the ball to a point where about 20 million children are out of school in Nigeria? That is an embarrassing stat, and we should all be thoroughly ashamed of it. The children are our future. We can't afford not to pay attention to them. Otherwise, very soon we won't even have a country. Nigerians, let us wake up and pay attention to our children. Thank you very much, Kingsley Obom-Ebulem, for coming to give us this, for coming to try to reset our brains, as they say in Nigeria.
I hope.
I think our brain don't reset hearing all these stats and all the things that you had to say.
It's crazy.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're not a child, but happy Children's Day on Monday.
We are all shy.
And you children out there, I'm even too embarrassed to say happy Children's Day to you.
He's not, he's a child.
Sunrise will be right back.